The National LGBTQ Workers Center is a lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, and queer organization where workers can go to stand up to workplace discrimination and fight for economic justice. Through issue-based grassroots organizing and labor education, they work to create social change with an emphasis on uplifting queer and trans people of color. The goal is to create a world in which all LGBTQ people understand their rights as workers and have the resources to organize their workplaces. So I'm joined here today by Ange Nordstrom. Ange, thank you very much. Can you tell us about how the Chicago chapter of the National LGBTQ Workers Center came to be?
Thank you so much for asking. So the organization was founded in 2018. Our founder's name is Joan Morales Jones. Joan was the founder and our first president of the national chapter. And when Joan founded the organization, the labor organizing that Joan and many of the other founding members began right here in Chicago. So despite the fact that we have a national chapter as well, most of the work started right here in Chicago. And I joined in 2019, so I've been here for almost 2 years. And I started off as the anti-discrimination hotline chair, and now I'm president of the Chicago chapter. So the organization has evolved from just a few organizers to a chapter to a Chicago chapter, and we also have a New York chapter as well. So the Worker Center is only growing. We have nowhere else to go but up when it comes to the labor organizing work that we do, as well as the work that we're focused on with the Chicago chapter.
Well, and the way you talk about this fairly rapid growth makes it seem easy, but we know that no organization getting off the ground has it completely easy. Can you say what were some of the obstacles the organization faced in the early days when it was first founded?
Well, one of the obstacles that I recall was getting the word out. How I found out about the Worker Center, for example, was through word of mouth from another friend of mine who's also an advocate here in the community here in Chicago. Outside of that, um, it's a matter of getting the word out about the work that we're doing and gaining some of the support from community and being able to take a stance for workers' rights. It kind of goes just ignored just to one, know one's rights, and then two, protecting one's own rights as a worker, because employers may more likely than not tend to have the upper hand when it comes to laws that say they protect the workers, but then it's not always enforced.
Yeah. So I like to know that there are obstacles in anything we want to accomplish, but we work through those obstacles because of successes. So can you share with us some of the successes which the National LGBTQ Workers Center has had that you're most proud of?
Well, there's a few. There's a few. Okay, so I'll just make them quick. So one of the first accomplishments that I'm very proud of is the launch of it's now called the Workers' Rights Hotline. Um, I came in as the inaugural anti-discrimination hotline. It was called anti-discrimination at the time, and now it's Workers' Rights. And when I joined, I was pretty much instrumental in the culmination and the establishment of this hotline so that workers can receive support and workers can take advantage of a program that is worker friendly when it comes to encountering workplace discrimination, workplace suppression. And launching it over a year ago was definitely a big accomplishment of mine, as well as an accomplishment of the Worker Center as a whole. And I took it very seriously. And by the time I became president, I had to learn to be not as involved, because I have to say, okay, now it's on you, to the new chair, and say, you got this, you can do it. And the hotline was launched successfully. We're still going, and we're still here to support Chicagoland area workers who really need it.
Great. Well, thank you for being there. So, you talked about some of the past successes. What are some of the key issues that your organization is fighting for at the present moment?
So some of the issues that we tend to receive and come across are people who are being discriminated against because they're trans or queer. Um, there are issues with people who are a little concerned about um, the pandemic and the safety measures being taken to ensure that workers are protected in the workplace. And then, of course, just ensuring that one is being treated equitably in the workplace and not just being held back from ascending, upon the ladder of their workplace.
Well, so there's a lot of work. COVID has changed a lot of practice out there. If any of our viewers are watching here today and they feel that they have been a victim of discrimination or they've seen or witnessed it, what kind of resources how would they get in touch with you to get access to these resources?
Well, one of the ways they can get in touch with us is by going to our website, which is lgbtqworkerscenter.org. We do have a page for the hotline where if you want to, you can fill out an intake form as far as like your name and uh, who your current employer is, as well as what the issue is. Or you can just contact our hotline number at 312-870-0110. Again, that's 312-870-0110. This is a Chicagoland resource. So if you're Chicagoland based, please take advantage. We do have worker advocates who can support workers and in English and in Spanish. And the intake form on our website is also available.
Great. And any advice you have for someone watching who might be a victim of discrimination, someone who could benefit from your services? I know it's a tough time. What would you like them to know?
That it's okay to speak up. You don't have to remain silent just because you just want to get through the day. You don't have to remain silent just because you just want to, as your coping mechanism, so to speak. You can speak up. When you speak up, you are ensuring that you receive the justice that you deserve as a worker and the support that you deserve as a worker. But you also are ensuring to prevent other workers from going through or receiving the same treatment or encountering the same experience. By speaking up, you are helping other workers in the process. And by speaking up, you are taking a stand for what's right.
Well, Ange, thank you for those words. Thank you for your efforts. And congratulations to the National LGBTQ Workers Center Chicago chapter for receiving this award for outstanding achievement in workforce and labor. We really appreciate your contributions.
Thank you so much for supporting us.